Your alarm goes off. You reach over, silence it, and tell yourself you'll get up in just a second. Then your hand finds your phone. You open Instagram, then Twitter, then YouTube, then back to Instagram because something new might have happened in the last 4 minutes. You check your messages, you scroll the news, you lie there in a half-awake haze, consuming everyone else's life while your own morning slowly dissolves around you. 45 minutes later, you're rushing. Breakfast is skipped or eaten standing up. Your brain is already buzzing with noise from everything you just consumed. You feel vaguely stressed about the day ahead, but can't quite articulate why, and somewhere in the back of your mind you know, today already feels like a loss before it has even really started. Sound familiar? Here is what nobody told you about that morning phone scroll. It is not just a bad habit, it is a neurological catastrophe happening at the single most critical moment of your entire day. The first 6 minutes after you wake up are not like any other 6 minutes in your day. They are a unique biological window where your brain is more programmable, more impressionable, and more responsive to input than at any other point in the next 24 hours. And most people spend that window consuming stress, comparison, and chaos before their brain has even fully booted up. But here's the thing, that same window that makes the phone scroll so damaging makes intentional input extraordinarily powerful. The right sequence of inputs in those first 6 minutes doesn't just start your day well, it literally rewires the neurological tone of your entire day. Focus, mood, motivation, stress resilience. All of it gets set in those first 6 minutes like a program running at startup. By the end of this video, you'll have the complete 6-minute neural prime. 6 steps, 1 minute each, backed by neuroscience, designed to take your brain from the foggy, stressed, reactive state it defaults to every morning and reprogram it into a focused, calm, and energized state that carries through everything you do for the rest of the day. And the best part? It takes exactly 6 minutes. No 5 a.m. wake-ups required. No hour-long routines, no green juice, just 6 minutes and the right sequence. Let's build it. Why the first 6 minutes are neurologically special. To understand why this ritual works, you need to understand what is happening in your brain during the transition from sleep to wakefulness, because it is far more dramatic and far more consequential than most people realize. During deep sleep, your brain operates primarily in delta wave frequency, slow, synchronized oscillations associated with deep restoration and unconscious processing. As you move toward waking, your brain shifts through theta waves, a slower frequency associated with the hypnagogic state, that dreamy, highly suggestible zone between sleep and full wakefulness. Theta waves are the same brain state that hypnotherapists deliberately induce because in this state, your brain's critical filter, the prefrontal cortex, is not yet fully online. Your brain is open, receptive, and highly responsive to suggestion and input. For approximately the first 4 to 6 minutes after waking, your brain is still riding the tail end of this theta wave state. Your prefrontal cortex is warming up, but not yet running at full capacity. Your amygdala, the emotional processing center, is still heavily influenced by whatever emotional tone was dominant during your final sleep cycle. Your cortisol awakening response is beginning, a natural, healthy surge of cortisol that is supposed to energize and focus you for the day ahead. This combination creates a window of extraordinary neurological plasticity. Inputs received in this window are processed more deeply, emotionally tagged more strongly, and retained more durably than inputs received an hour later. The emotional tone established in this window tends to persist through the day via a mechanism called affective priming. Your brain filters subsequent experiences through the emotional lens established first thing in the morning. This is why waking up and immediately checking social media is so damaging. You are loading stress, comparison, outrage, and anxiety into the most neurologically impressionable window of your entire day. Your brain tags that emotional tone as the baseline for the morning. And your effective priming system carries it forward into everything that follows, but flip that input. Load that same window with the right sequence, and you set an entirely different neurological baseline, one that your brain carries forward just as durably. The 6-minute neural prime is designed specifically to exploit this window in the most powerful way possible. Here is exactly how it works. The 6-minute neural prime. Minute 1. No phone. Eyes open, just breathe. The moment your alarm goes off, before you touch your phone, before you check the time on anything with a screen, before you speak to anyone, lie still for 60 seconds and breathe deliberately. 4 counts in through the nose. Hold for 2, 6 counts out through the mouth. Repeat for the full minute. This is not meditation. This is neuroscience. Here is what is happening during those 60 seconds. Your body has been in a low cortisol, low arousal state during sleep. The cortisol awakening response, a natural hormonal process, begins spiking cortisol within minutes of waking to mobilize energy and alertness. This spike is healthy and necessary. But if you immediately expose yourself to stressful inputs like news, notifications, or a full message inbox, you amplify this cortisol spike beyond its healthy range. The result is a stress response that feels like anxiety rather than energized alertness. The 60 seconds of deliberate breathing modulates this cortisol awakening response. The extended exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your biological calm system, and ensures the cortisol spike lands in its optimal range, energizing without being overwhelming. You are not trying to stay calm. You are calibrating your stress response at the moment it is most easily influenced. One more thing, the deliberate act of keeping your phone face down for this 60 seconds breaks the automatic reflex loop that has trained your brain to reach for stimulation the moment consciousness returns. That loop, broken consistently every morning, weakens over time. The urge to immediately check your phone decreases measurably within 2 weeks of consistent practice. Minute 2. Physical activation. Movement that wakes the brain, not just the body. Sit up. Plant your feet on the floor. Then do one of the following for 60 seconds. 10 to 15 push-ups, 20 jumping jacks, 15 squats, or 30 seconds of running in place, followed by 30 seconds of arm circles. The specific exercise matters less than the intensity. Should be enough to raise your heart rate noticeably. Here is the neuroscience. Within 60 seconds of moderate physical movement, your brain begins releasing a cascade of neurochemicals. Dopamine, the motivation and focus chemical, begins rising. Norepinephrine, the alertness and attention chemical, spikes. Serotonin, the mood stabilization chemical, starts climbing. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, sometimes called miracle grow for the brain, begins releasing. This neurochemical cascade is what separates people who wake up energized from people who wake up groggy. It is not a personality difference, it is a chemistry difference, and you can deliberately trigger it with 60 seconds of movement every single morning. There is also a powerful effect on sleep inertia, that heavy, groggy feeling that lingers after waking. Sleep inertia is caused by residual adenosine in the brain and a slow rise in core body temperature. Physical movement accelerates both the clearance of adenosine and the rise in core body temperature, cutting sleep inertia significantly faster than lying in bed, drinking coffee, or scrolling your phone. Minute 3. Hydration. Restart the hardware. Drink a full glass of water, at least 250 milliliters, ideally 500, room temperature or cold, your preference. This sounds almost insultingly simple. The neuroscience behind it is not simple at all. Your brain is approximately 75% water by composition. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep during which you have consumed no fluids and lost water through respiration and minor perspiration, your brain is in a measurable state of mild dehydration every single morning. Research shows that even mild dehydration, as little as 1 to 2% of body water loss, produces measurable reductions in working memory capacity, attention, and processing speed. You are trying to run a complex cognitive operating system on hardware that is running low on its primary coolant. Drinking water in the first minutes of waking rehydrates brain tissue, restores optimal electrical conductivity across neurons, and measurably improves cognitive performance within 15 to 20 minutes of consumption. Add a small pinch of sea salt to the water if you want to optimize further. Sodium supports electrolyte balance and enhances cellular water absorption. This is not a gimmick. It is basic physiology. Your brain performs better when it is properly hydrated, and the cheapest, fastest way to give it that is a glass of water within the first 3 minutes of waking. Minute 4. Sunlight or bright light exposure. Set your biological clock. Step to a window, open it if possible, or step outside for 60 seconds of direct or indirect natural light exposure. If it is dark when you wake, winter mornings, early risers, use a bright daylight spectrum lamp instead. The key is light hitting your retina within the first few minutes of waking. Here is why this is non-negotiable. Your brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, is a tiny cluster of neurons in the hypothalamus that controls your entire circadian rhythm. It synchronizes every biological process in your body, hormone release, body temperature, metabolism, sleep pressure, to the 24-hour cycle of light and dark. And it does this primarily through the light information it receives first thing in the morning. Morning light exposure triggers a powerful signal through the retinohypothalamic tract, the direct neural pathway from your eyes to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, that tells your master clock, it is daytime, begin the daytime program. This signal triggers the suppression of residual melatonin, the acceleration of the cortisol awakening response into its healthy range, and the beginning of the serotonin synthesis process that will produce the melatonin you need tonight for quality sleep. Stanford neuroscientist Andrew Huberman has extensively documented that morning light exposure is one of the single most powerful behavioral interventions available for mood, focus, energy, and sleep quality. 60 seconds of morning light costs nothing and sets every downstream biological process of your day on the right track. Skip it and your circadian clock drifts. Your melatonin suppression is incomplete, your afternoon energy dip hits harder, and your evening sleep quality suffers, all from skipping 60 seconds of light. Minute 5. Intention setting. Program your reticular activating system. Sit down, take a pen and a small notebook or any piece of paper. Write down 3 things and 3 things only. 1. Your single most important task for today. 2. One thing you are genuinely grateful for right now. 3. One sentence describing how you intend to show up today. Each item takes approximately 15 to 20 seconds to write. The full minute is intentional. Slow, deliberate writing rather than a rushed mental checklist. Here is what is happening neurologically during this minute. Your reticular activating system, the brain's attention filter, is being directly programmed. The RAS filters the approximately 11 million pieces of sensory information your brain receives every second down to the approximately 40 pieces your conscious mind actually processes. It decides what is signal and what is noise based on what you have told it to prioritize. Writing down your most important task gives the RAS a target. For the rest of the day, it will unconsciously direct your attention toward information, opportunities, and ideas relevant to that target. The gratitude component is not motivational fluff. Research from UCLA's Mindfulness Awareness Research Center shows that expressing gratitude activates the medial prefrontal cortex, the brain region associated with positive affect and stress modulation, and measurably reduces amygdala reactivity. Writing one genuine gratitude item in the morning reduces your brain's baseline stress response for hours afterward. The intention sentence, "I will show up focused and calm today," or "I will finish the project draft no matter what," activates the same neuroplastic mechanism used in clinical goal-setting therapy. Stated intentions prime associated neural networks, making the intended behaviors easier to access throughout the day. 6 weeks of consistent morning intention setting produces measurable changes in prefrontal cortex gray matter density associated with improved executive function. You are not just planning your day, you are physically reshaping the hardware that runs it. Minute 6. Visualization. Run the simulation before the day runs you. Close your eyes. For 60 seconds, mentally walk through your day, not in anxious detail, not cataloging everything that could go wrong. A calm, positive, forward simulation. See yourself completing your most important task with focus and ease. See yourself navigating a difficult conversation calmly. See yourself at the end of the day feeling genuinely satisfied with what you accomplished. This is not manifestation mythology. This is applied neuroscience. Your brain does not sharply distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one at the level of neural activation. When you visualize performing an action, the same motor cortex regions and neural networks that fire during actual performance fire during the visualization. Elite athletes have used this principle for decades. Neuroscience has confirmed and explained the mechanism repeatedly. What visualization does in the morning specifically is pre-activate the neural networks associated with your intended day. When you later encounter the real version of the situation you visualized, sitting down to work, having a conversation, making a decision, your brain has already run the simulation. The neural pathways have already been primed. The behavior is easier to access. The emotional response is more regulated. The performance is measurably better. 60 seconds of calm, positive visualization at the end of your 6-minute neural prime sends your brain into the day with pre-activated goal networks, a positive, effective baseline, and a rehearsed sense of capability. It is the difference between walking into your day cold and walking into it warmed up. Why this works when other morning routines fail. Most morning routines fail for one of 3 reasons. They are too long, requiring an hour or more that most people genuinely don't have on a consistent basis. They are too complex, requiring equipment, preparation, or specific conditions that create friction and excuses. Or they are performative, designed around what looks impressive rather than what the neuroscience actually supports. The 6-minute neural prime fails none of these tests. It requires no equipment beyond a glass of water and a piece of paper. It requires no specific wake-up time. It works whether you wake at 5 a.m. or 8 a.m. It requires no preparation the night before. And every single step is grounded in peer-reviewed neuroscience with documented effects on mood, focus, motivation, and cognitive performance. The other critical difference is that this routine works with your brain's existing biology rather than against it. It is designed around the cortisol awakening response, the theta wave transition window, the reticular activating system, and the circadian light signal, all systems that are already operating every single morning, whether you engage with them or not. The 6-minute neural prime simply ensures that when these systems fire, they fire in the direction you want, rather than the direction of stress, distraction, and reactive chaos. If you are loving this so far, hit that like button right now and let me know in the comments. Are you a morning person or do mornings feel like your enemy? Because after this protocol, that answer might change. The compounding effect. What happens after 30 days? One morning of the 6-minute neural prime will make you feel noticeably better than a normal morning. That alone is worth doing it once. But the real power is in the compounding. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to physically reorganize and strengthen neural connections based on repeated experience, operates on a timeline of weeks and months, not hours. Each morning you run this protocol, you are reinforcing the same neural pathways. The breathing reflex becomes automatic. The movement habit wires in. The intention setting becomes faster and more intuitive. The visualization becomes more vivid and more effective. After 2 weeks, the morning phone scroll urge begins to feel genuinely less powerful. Your brain has built a competing morning routine strong enough to compete with the dopamine pull of social media. After 30 days, your baseline morning mood, energy, and focus will have measurably shifted. People around you will notice before you do. Your productivity in the first 2 hours of the day, the most cognitively valuable hours for most people, will be dramatically higher. Your stress response throughout the day will be more regulated. Your sleep quality will have improved because the morning light exposure and consistent wake time have strengthened your circadian rhythm. After 60 days, the routine will be fully automatic. You will not need to remind yourself to do it. Your brain will have wired it as a default morning sequence and will actually feel uncomfortable when the sequence is skipped. This is the point where the routine stops being something you do and becomes something you are. Your 6-minute neural prime cheat sheet. Minute 1. No phone, deliberate breathing, 4 counts in, 6 counts out. Calibrate the cortisol awakening response. Minute 2. 60 seconds of physical movement, push-ups, squats, or jumping jacks. Trigger the neurochemical wake-up cascade. Minute 3. Full glass of water, pinch of sea salt optional. Rehydrate the brain hardware. Minute 4. 60 seconds of natural light or bright lamp exposure. Set the circadian clock for the whole day. Minute 5. Write 1 task, 1 gratitude, 1 intention. Program the reticular activating system. Minute 6. Close eyes. 60 seconds of calm, positive visualization of your day. Pre-activate the goal networks. 6 minutes, 6 steps, 1 for each minute. Done before your phone touches your hand. Here is what I want you to do right now. Before this video ends, decide that tomorrow morning you are doing this. Not thinking about it, not planning to try it eventually. Tomorrow. Set your alarm for 6 minutes earlier than usual if you need to. Put a glass of water on your nightstand tonight. Put a pen and paper beside it. Remove your phone charger from beside your bed and put it across the room. The setup takes 2 minutes tonight. The payoff is a fundamentally different experience of every morning for the rest of your life. Your morning is not just the start of your day. It is the program that runs your day. And for the first time, you get to write that program deliberately, like this video, if your mornings are about to change. Subscribe because next week, we are breaking down the science of why your brain physically cannot sustain willpower, and the biological system that replaces it completely so you never have to rely on motivation again. That one is going to restructure how you think about discipline forever. Set your alarm, put the water out, let's go.